Hey everyone, welcome to another installment of Around the League. Today we are continuing with college sports conferences in D1 with what we considered in a previous video maybe the bottom of the barrel when it comes to the FBS conferences. And what I mean by that is Division I football, right, is split into two sections. We have the FBS conferences, which are the upper tier, and the FCS conferences, which are the lower tier. And of the upper tier of those, you have, of course, the Power 5, and then you have kind of those Power 6 conferences like the American, like the MAC, maybe even Mountain West in there. But with Conference USA and this conference, the Sun Belt Conference, you are kind of at the bottom of that list. These are the teams that people joke about playing in college football, the video game, and making dynasties out of them because typically they're not the ones that are going to make the playoff. But the Sun Belt Conference is named so as it takes place in the American Sun Belt, kind of the Gulf Coast here with some additional states in the South. But 14 schools make up this conference, and we're going to start in the West in Texas and work our way to the East, starting down in San Marcos at Texas State University. So we zoom in here kind of on the Austin area, and San Marcos is going to sit right in the middle of San Antonio and Austin on I-35. So zoom in here, we should be able to find Texas State University right there, kind of the unique red roofed buildings of the campus. But that is home to the Texas State Bobcats, the colors of maroon and kind of that broken gold color, that almost brownish, almost Vegas gold somewhere in the middle there. But that is Texas State. We move over to Louisiana, two schools in Louisiana. Let's start in the South in Lafayette. This is the school that is popularly just known as the University of Louisiana. Of course, more formally known as the University of Louisiana at Lafayette, but this is home to the Ragin' Cajuns, just to the south of town there. That is home to the Ragin' Cajuns of the University of Louisiana. There's the Cajun Dome over to the west side of campus here. And there, of course, the football stadium just next door across Cajun Dome Boulevard. Zoom out here and we go to the north then, up to the other University of Louisiana in Monroe. So about halfway between Shreveport and Vicksburg, maybe a little more toward Vicksburg, we're going to find the town of Monroe, Louisiana. And this is home to the school known as the University of Louisiana, Monroe. Formerly known as Northeast Louisiana University, it is located just to the northeast of town here, the home of the Warhawks, Malone Stadium right there on the edge of campus, home to ULM and their sports right there. Zoom out here, we're going to go up to Arkansas, to one school in Arkansas, and it's way up in the northeast here in Jonesboro. So if we zoom in on kind of the little natch that's in the side of Arkansas, Jonesboro is home to Arkansas State University up on the northeastern edge of campus. The Red Wolves play their football up on the far extreme of campus there at Centennial Bank Stadium. But that is Arkansas State University. Next, let's go over to Mississippi. We have one school in Mississippi. It's down in Hattiesburg. So if we zoom out here and zoom in on the south of Mississippi, Hattiesburg is going to be basically just straight north of Gulfport. So we zoom in here, and this is the former home. I'm a Green Bay Packers fan, so of course I know the University of Southern Mississippi as the alma mater of Brett Favre. But M.M. Roberts Stadium, there, home to the Southern Miss Golden Eagles. Zoom out here, we go over to Alabama. Two schools in Alabama. The first one is going to be in Mobile, Alabama, which is down south on the Gulf Coast here. Zoom in here, and this is the school known as the University of South Alabama. So all the way over to the west here near the airport, we're going to find USA. The Jaguars. Color's a little tinted on this camera here that Google used. Stanky Field, great name for a baseball park to the south there, but that is the University of just South Alabama, home to the Jaguars. The other school is in Troy, Alabama. So we zoom out here. The best way to find Troy, Alabama, is to zoom in east of Greenville, just south of Montgomery. And Troy is home, of course, to Troy University, aptly named the Troy Trojans. The maroon and silver. They play their football games there at Veterans Memorial Stadium, but that is Troy University in Troy, Alabama. So those are all the schools that make up the Western Division in this conference. Let's then move to the Eastern Division. There are 2 schools in Georgia. The first one's going to be up in Atlanta. Now, if you're a baseball fan, you'll be familiar with this football stadium. If we zoom in downtown, just to the south of downtown Atlanta is the former baseball field known as Turner Field, now of course known as Center Park Stadium. This stadium has been transformed twice. So in 1996, of course, all this property was built as a full athletic stadium for the 96 Olympics. After the Olympics were done, they ripped out this area here, became the plaza, and became the home of the Atlanta Braves. Braves moved out about 5-7 years ago, and now, of course, home to Georgia State football. But the Georgia State Panthers have their campus actually located elsewhere in Atlanta. If we zoom out here, Georgia State University is going to be located just to the north in the heart of Atlanta. Right there, this whole urban complex is technically what is known as Georgia State University. Zoom out here, the other school in Georgia is going to be located in Statesboro. So if we zoom out of Atlanta and go toward the eastern side of the state, over by Savannah, just to the northwest is going to be Statesboro, Georgia. And this is home to Georgia Southern University. I think the geography is a little warped on that. I think it should be more of an eastern Georgia school, but Allen E. Paulson Stadium, home to the Georgia Southern Eagles, located right there in Statesboro. Let's go up then into South Carolina, one school in South Carolina, and it's going to be located in Conway. So if we zoom in on the state here, Conway is going to be located all the way to the east near the point of South Carolina, and this is where we're going to find Coastal Carolina University. So zoomed in a little too far here. If we zoom out, Coastal Carolina is going to be located over across the swamp here. There it is right there. Brooks Stadium, probably the most unique physical field that is in the FBS. Of course, in the FCS, you have iconic colored fields like like Eastern Washington. The only other one in FBS that I can think of would be Boise State. But Coastal Carolina, the Chanticleers, have the teal stadium right here and the bronze end zones at Brooks Stadium. But that is Coastal Carolina University in Conway, South Carolina. We move up to North Carolina, and we have to find the town of Boone, North Carolina. Zoom out here, get a better view of the whole state. Just to the west of Winston-Salem, you're going to find Boone. And this is home to App State, one of the more iconic football stadiums in the country just for its view of the surrounding mountains. The App State Mountaineers, located right there at Kidd Brewer Stadium. If you've never seen views of Kidd Brewer Stadium, especially in the fall, it's a beautiful atmosphere for football there. Just like I said, surrounded by the trees, surrounded by the greenery that turns fall colors, but that is Appalachian State University in Boone, North Carolina. One school in Virginia, it's up in Harrisonburg, Virginia. So if we look here, Harrisonburg is going to be located up in the north of Lexington on our way up to West Virginia. Zoom in here on kind of this Bridgewater area, and to the north of that, we are going to find Harrisonburg. So if we zoom in here, we should be able to find the school known as James Madison University. There it is right there. JMU, home to the Dukes, Bridgeforth Stadium. Formerly an FCS school, just made the transition a few years ago and has kind of dominated in the Sun Belt. You see schools like North Dakota State or even South Dakota State that are looking at making the jump to FBS, hoping to do it as successfully as James Madison has done in the Sun Belt. But that, like I said, is home to the James Madison Dukes in Harrisonburg, Virginia. And two more schools. I almost forgot one in Virginia. We have to stop over at Norfolk. Zoom over here. I don't want to forget about Old Dominion. Norfolk, of course, home to a variety of universities in this area. We talked about Hampton University, we talked about Norfolk State University, but this is Old Dominion. Let's not forget about the Monarchs. The blue, light blue, and silver of ODU, located right there in Norfolk, Old Dominion University. More of a basketball school, but like I said, with the kind of success of the college football video game, we are seeing Old Dominion kind of popularized because of the fact that their football team is kind of one of the lesser schools in FBS when it comes to football. Then our final school is over in West Virginia. I do apologize to all my ODU fans there. But in West Virginia, we have to stop in Huntington. And this, of course, is home to Marshall University. on the border with Ohio, moving over to Kentucky. Right here, friend of mine works at Marshall University, but of course you guys probably know Marshall University best as the alma mater of Randy Moss, or for the plane crash in the 70s or 80s that took nearly the entire team out, one of the biggest tragedies in college sports. But Joan C. Edwards Stadium, home to the Thundering Herd of Marshall. Those are all 14 schools. Let me know if I forgot one. Like I said, I do apologize for almost missing out on Old Dominion, but that is the Sun Belt Conference. Let me know if there are other conferences you want me to touch on in the comments section below. They may already be in our pipeline and they may already be in the folder. So if you want more content like this, check out the Around the League folder for more videos like this. Otherwise, we will hope to see you back on the channel very, very soon.